Hello, hello, hello. This is Gresh from the I Am CEO podcast and I have a very special guest on the show today. I have Ting Lin of the Ting Times. Ting, it's awesome to have you on the show.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
No problem. Super excited to have you on. And before we jumped in, I want to read a little bit more about Ting so you hear about all the awesome things that she's doing. And Ting Lin is a multi-talented and creative entrepreneur in the DMV area. She is a fashion consultant for Ting Lin Fashion, specializing in wardrobe audit, personal shopping, and fashion styling. She is a singer and songwriter for Ting Lin Music, creating and performing original songs with multicultural and cross-genre elements. And she is the founder of the Ting Times, striving to support creatives who want to pursue unconventional careers by providing resources, mentorship, and opportunities. Ting, are you ready to speak to the IMCO community?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. Let's do it. So to kick everything off, I wanted to rewind the clock a little bit, hear a little bit more on how you got started and what led you to start with all the awesome things you're working
Well, so I'm an artist, that's where my heart is at. And all of the things kind of took shape throughout the years. It wasn't just like I woke up and I'm like, okay, I'm doing all these things. And because I'm somebody that loves doing so many creative things, I had to kind of say, well, what am I most passionate about? And that's fashion and music and also community. So that's why there's Ting Lin Fashion, Ting Lin Music, and the Ting Times. The Ting Times is basically an umbrella for everything that I do. But eventually it will morph into an organization that supports other creatives that want to do what I want to do, creative things. So yeah, I mean, I just love, I guess I want to have a career doing things that I'm passionate about, because I have been into the retail world, I have been in the corporate world, and I realize I'm the happiest when I, do my own thing, have my own business and do things that I'm truly just passionate about. So this is why, I kind of started all of these different ventures.
Nice. I definitely appreciate that. And I think when we first connected, I talked about, the creativeness of entrepreneurship at its heart. And I believe that creatives are the people that are most able to figure out how to solve these problems, how to sometimes merge different talents and interests into one that can kind of help and create that movement or that, solution for certain problems that we have in life.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I think creativity isn't just for the artist. I think creativity can be a lifestyle. We also talked about this, where I feel like a lot of people think of creatives as just artists or musicians or fashion designers or graphic designers or, like all of these boxes that people think creatives are. And I don't believe that. I think creatives exist in every single industry, in every single field, as long as you're somebody who thinks outside of the box, who wants to solve problems in your industry creatively, and who just want to be change makers. So I consider all of those people creatives. And creativity can be brought into daily lives where you're not so like stubborn at solving a problem in one way, where you are more flexible and like, well, let's consider other options, or let's consider other people's opinions, or let's consider other aspects or perspectives at looking at a problem. So, creativity, I feel like it's a way of life.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love how you said that it's a way of life, because I think so many times we get, I guess the worst thing you can do is tell a creative that they need to fit into a box and they need to check off those boxes, so to speak, because I think
Yeah.
that not only limits their creativity, but I think it also limits the impact that they can have on the world. Because I think so many times
Yeah.
we get so focused on doing things one specific way, but it's the creative, it's the person that is able to kind of do it in a different way or look at it in a different way that allows that opportunity to create these innovations and these things that really we're even using in this very moment.
Yeah. I mean, you know, and also being creative doesn't mean you have to do everything originally. Like, there are a lot of things that already exist, but as long as you do it your way and you bring something different to the table, it doesn't mean you can't do what other people are doing. It doesn't mean you have to come up with something totally original, because in this world, it's really hard to just say everything that we do is original. I feel like we're all inspired by someone. We're all influenced by different people that have come before us, right? So I think people shouldn't be afraid to be like, well, I don't have anything original. It's like, no, just do it your way. That is original enough,
Yeah, absolutely. I often say, if you run your own race, you can't lose because nobody can run your race like you can. So
That's right.
I know you're running your race, and you're at least a triple threat that you mentioned. Could you talk a little bit more on the different aspects that you have, in your business and what you're doing and how you support those clients you work with?
So yes, I definitely do things my way. For my fashion clients, I can talk a little bit more about. So the way I kind of treat my fashion clients is that I'm pretty much their friend. Um, because when I look at fashion, it's something that's very personal. It's not just about the clothing. It's a mindset. It's about their confidence. It's about their self-image. It's about their how they feel about their body, how they feel about themselves. So the fact that they come to me and like they're vulnerable and they're expressing all of these inner feelings they have about themselves, to me, I can't really treat it as, oh, you're my client, I am your fashion consultant. I i kind of open up and I'm like, I'm your friend, I'm here to listen, I'm here to support, and I'm here to help you however you need me to help you, right? So I treat my clients as friends, and the way we work is like, I listen, I'm very patient with them. I customize my service based on the client. There's no like one box fits all kind of thing. So because I want to tailor my service, to them specifically so I can really, really help them. And it's not about like pushing my fashion sense onto them. It's about helping them discover their own fashion sense and help them develop their individual styles. And yeah, to me, it's an honor to be able to work with my clients because they're just so honest with me about themselves and about what they need. So yeah.
Nice. No, I definitely appreciate that. And I think, when we definitely connected to like I guess the symbolism of fashion as well too. I think so many times we forget like, oh, I'm just putting on this shirt or I'm just, dressing up in this, but what it represents is so much more. So I love that obviously the customized approach that you have, but I love how in tuned you are to that aspect as well. And not just seeing what the clothes are, but what the clothes represent and how it creates that forward momentum.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the clients, they already know something about fashion. A lot of them, they're like, oh, I don't know anything about fashion. I'm like, you've dressed yourself for so many years, you know something about fashion,
Mhm.
but it's about building up that fashion knowledge. And that's kind of where I come in, where, I'm not necessarily telling a client, well, I don't like this or I like this for you. I explain to them why I like this on them, why I don't like something on them, why they should keep something, why they shouldn't keep something. So kind of bring in that expert knowledge because I've worked in fashion retail for like many, many years, throughout college, throughout my career. And I've also studied fashion design. um, and I've been in the industry for a long time, and I've been an executive assistant too, and working alongside like executives and overseeing the whole process of creating a garment. So I've seen a lot, and that's kind of the expertise I bring in, is kind of telling someone why certain color works for them, why certain silhouette works for them, and also encouraging them to not follow trends, but mainly focus on their own style. Because when you follow trends, a lot of the trends are not for every single body type and for every single person. So it's important to kind of see what really works for you instead of kind of just chasing what's the newest item I have to have in my closet.
Nice. Yeah, I appreciate that so much because I think kind of like what we were talking about with business, where so many times you can get locked in on one specific way of doing things. A lot of times you
Mhm.
can lean on the expertise of others. And a lot of times, like I said before, when you start to run somebody else's race, that's when you lose. That's when you don't stay true to yourself. So looking for answers externally when really we should be looking for answers within, and then kind of learning more, sharpening the saw and going forward from there.
Yeah, I mean, it's about like learning about your body type and learning, because some people do experience some changes in their body types.
Mhm.
A lot of clients I talk to, they're one body type, and then they're like, well, I'm working towards this other body type. So just kind of like being patient with yourself throughout that journey, and knowing what really looks good on you, be really honest with yourself, know what you want to show, know which part you don't want to show. Just kind of have those internal dialogues. So then when I come in, you're honest with me and I can really help you. And I work within my client's comfort zone, but I'm also there to push their boundary a little bit, because
Mhm.
you don't really learn if I'm just saying yes to everything that you
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, absolutely. And you don't grow unless you get outside of that comfort zone. And that's definitely for sure. So I wanted to ask you now for what I call your secret sauce. And this could be for yourself or your business, but what do you feel kind of sets you apart and makes you unique?
I mean, I feel like a couple of things sets me apart. I think one is that, my passion for what I do. It's pretty apparent because I have all the energy and all the time in the world when I'm doing something that I love. So I bring a lot of passion into the way I interact with my fashion clients or music or other creatives. Um, you can feel the passion, and you can feel how that I'm genuinely, loving what I do. And I'm providing a lot of honest opinions, a lot of good information. So I think my passion is one of my secret sauces, I would say. And then definitely what I touched upon is the personalization of my services. So there's not like, you don't feel like you're getting treated the same as everyone else, just like a cookie cutter in a cookie cutter way. I kind of tailor my services to you personally. I would say that more for fashion. For music, for me, it's again, passion is there, but for music, I'm there to push boundaries. So it's not so much, oh, what do everybody else like? It's kind of like, what do everybody else need? What isn't out there already? How can I do things my way, make it interesting, make it sound good, but different, you know? Yeah.
Nice. I appreciate that, and I definitely see the kind of the overlap between the two. Do you find that having the ability to kind of look from different angles, obviously being able to be a singer songwriter and also being able to be a fashion, do you feel like that allows you sometimes to look at things in a unique way whenever you're working with a fashion client or potentially making a new song? You can look at it from a fashion. Do you feel like a lot of those things overlap or those skills get kind of cultivated throughout that process?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think a lot of creative mediums overlap and they work really well with each other. I mean, the reason I chose fashion and music is because I've been a musician all my life since I was 4 or 5. I started off as a pianist, and then I learned, I took vocal lessons, and then I started experimenting with songwriting. So it's like a whole little journey. And throughout there, I also experimented with fashion. And, as somebody who performs, I incorporate a lot of the fashion knowledge into the way I dress for the stage, into the way I dress for music videos, or just into the way I present myself as a musician. That kind of like that musician identity I kind of develop with fashion in mind. And I actually have some clients that are musicians. So, musicians or dancers or performers. So the way I work with them is like, because I'm one of them. So I kind of, I kind of know what they want. So, whether it's like trying to find clothes that fit their music identity, or just trying to find clothes that are couture, or that is just perfect for the stage, I have those like insights to help them. So yeah, I definitely think fashion and music, and a lot of creative mediums work really well with each other. And they inspire each other in a way. Sometimes fashion inspires the way I do music, and music inspires the way I dress. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I love to kind of hear about like how they definitely overlap and the synergies between the two. And I love obviously you bringing in that community piece as well as being able to say also this is kind of like a place for creatives that you've been able to do with the Ting Times and to really the Ting Times to really do make sure that it happens.
Yeah, I created a meetup group called the Ting Times Creative Hub on meetup.com.
Mhm.
And that community is exactly what I talked about, where I invite people from all industries to come together once in a while to kind of like talk about what they're up to, the problems they see in their industries, and see how we can like support each other, help solve problems, and collaborate. Because I think collaboration is so important, and in order to collaborate, you have to really talk to each other and see, how we can collaborate and work together. So that's a community that I started for, the Ting Times. And also my website, which I'm revamping right now, will be about providing resources to creatives to really help them succeed in whichever field they want to succeed in. By providing resources, mentorship, opportunities, just to really kind of encourage them to pursue something unconventional, something that's not told by their parents, something that's not told by them, that's not told by the society, you know, on what their passion is and what they love to do.
Yeah, I absolutely love that because you get that opportunity to kind of create that community. And I believe the creativity even grows because, again, it's like iron sharpening iron, and you really get to see that opportunity to kind of see even more creative things, I think, come about. So I appreciate you in the true entrepreneurial way for creating that opportunity for
Yeah.
that to happen. And I wanted to switch gears a little bit, and I want
Okay.
to ask you for what I call a CEO hack. So this could be like an app, a book, or a habit that you have, but what's something that makes you more effective and efficient?
So one of the habits that I do have is that I like to finish everything for that day on that day. So what that means is that, you know, we have to-do lists for every single day, right? And sometimes we don't get to all of it, and that's fine. But I set some goals of what I want to accomplish on one day, and I try to stick to those goals and get them done, you know, and it might sound overwhelming, but my strategy is that, you know, every day we'll have more things to do. So if we finish, you know, some things that we set for one day, then on the next day we can work on something new and, you know, other things on the to-do list, instead of feeling overwhelmed and feeling like the list never gets, you know, gets shorter. And it's worked for me so far, you know, because again, I don't try to do everything in a single day because of so much stuff that I get myself involved with. But every day I try to make some progress towards all the goals that I have. And at least you make some progress, it's fine. You know, I wouldn't say like overwhelm yourself and overwork yourself on a daily basis, because then you will get drained, you know, and then you'll get like unmotivated. So yeah, that's something I feel like it's a habit of mine to try to get everything done, you know, the day of, instead of saying, oh, well, wait till tomorrow, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's extremely powerful. And I think, too, one of the things I think I talked with a coach, or I went through some program or something, and I found like all of us get energy from certain ways. And I get energy actually from starting stuff. So a lot of times, in order to kind of hack myself, I would basically make sure that before I started anything new, I had to finish something. So, kind of in line with what you were saying, I can't
Yes.
take on new things until I get what's on my plate already finished. And I love that hack just because it's a reminder of that, of like, especially if you know that you're somebody who gets excited by that, you're more than likely going to be pushed to get those things done so you can take on more, even more.
Yeah, I agree with that actually. Like, I'm all about finish what you've started, because people like us, entrepreneurs who get so many new ideas and love so many things and want to like put our hands in so many things, it's so easy to just like start something and not finish.
Right.
So that I really agree with that, where you should force yourself to finish like what you've started, one thing, unless you feel like there's really no value, of course, you know, judge it based on that. But if there's value, finish it and then start something new, or else you would just have a bunch of projects that are unfinished.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Absolutely love that. So now I wanted to ask you for what I call a CEO nugget. And this could be a word of wisdom or a piece of advice. It might be something, if you hopped into a time machine, you might tell your younger business self.
Okay, well, I'm gonna use that actually.
Mhm.
If I can hop in a time machine and tell, I guess, my younger self, being, I guess, in the 20s, you know, maybe when I was 21, that's kind of when I moved to New York and had all these big dreams, you know, in the fashion industry, to tell myself that you will get there. Just be patient with yourself. Do the right things, you know, make all the right connections, put in the hard work, explore different opportunities, know your worth, and not let other people kind of undermine your worth, because people will, especially in the fashion industry. And just keep doing it, and then you'll get there. Um, because like, you know, when I was in my 20s, I remember feeling like so powerless, like, oh, I'm just working in a retail store, like when am I going to get there, right, wherever there was. And I remember that sense of like powerlessness. But I think instead of feeling powerlessness, I should have, you know, felt more motivated and felt that like, you know, I will get there, it's just a matter of time, and just really be patient with myself, instead of like, making myself feel bad that I'm not there yet, you know?
Yeah. I love that. If you see my younger self at that time too, please tell him that as well too, because I think so many times we beat ourselves up about where we
Yeah.
want to be, and especially being ambitious, we want to see ourselves a certain place, but we shouldn't rob ourselves of the present and the grind and the process that we're going through at that time, because we should enjoy that just as much as we enjoy where we're going.
Yeah. You know, like celebrate the small successes, you know,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's just making one sale,
Mm-hmm.
or even if it's just like making a goal, or even if just, you know, making a connection. You know, you just never know where those things lead. And I would definitely say also, if you feel like nothing is for you, start something on your own. You know,
Absolutely.
if you feel like there's nothing out there for you, do it yourself, and make that thing, you know, something you love and something you're passionate about.
Yeah, absolutely. If you feel like a lane isn't going the way you want to, create your own lane and do it yourself.
That's right.
Absolutely. Appreciate that. And so now I wanted to ask you my absolute favorite question, which is the definition of what it means to be a CEO. And we're hoping to have different quote unquote CEOs on this show. So, Ting, what does being a CEO mean to you?
Being a CEO isn't just a title. Being a CEO is a mindset. It's about taking charge. It's about being a leader. It's, again, kind of everything I said, like being a change maker, being a problem solver. I guess kind of seeing whichever industry that you're in, kind of seeing what is needed. And if there's nothing there, take charge. So being a CEO, I think, is less about a title, especially in the corporate world, than a mindset in entrepreneurial world. So I think anybody can be a CEO, and and you can be a CEO in every field possible. It doesn't have to be in a corporate world, but you have to make sure you have what it takes. You have to make sure that you're willing to put in the hard work, finish what you've started, be humble and learn and collaborate with people, make all the connections. Um, and you are a CEO, then you are the CEO.
Yeah, absolutely. I love how you said it's kind of a mentality and the ability to kind of take charge. Because again, I always feel like at the true heart of entrepreneurship or being a CEO is really not just seeing the problem, but actually solving the problem and putting the pen to the pad, or designing the next piece, or creating the next website, whatever that might be in the different modalities and way that we can do that. But it's all about creating the change we hope to see. And I think the true entrepreneur and true CEO is able to do that. So I love that definition and perspective.
Yes. And I applaud you for kind of like helping to redefine the definition of a CEO.
Mhm.
That's why you have this podcast, and you invite different types of business owners and leaders and CEOs into your podcast to kind of show the audience that there's not one definition of a CEO. There's not one title of a CEO. You know, you can be a CEO that does everything. You know, you can be the CEO that just the leader, right? So I definitely applaud you also for helping people to redefine what a CEO is.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I appreciate you for helping us do that as well too. And I think, as you said, so many times we have it all in within ourselves, and by seeing people in so many different roles and lights and things that they do, backgrounds, and so on and so forth, it provides that opportunity to really see it within us. So I truly appreciate that, Ting, and I appreciate your time even more. What I want to
Of
do is
course.
pass you the mic, so to speak, just to see if there's anything additional you can let our readers and listeners know, and of course, how best they can get a hold of you and find out about all the awesome things you're working on.
Awesome. Well, if you want to learn more about the Ting Times, if you're a creative or you know someone who is a creative, then definitely check out www.thetingtimes.com, TheTingTimes. And also the Instagram for that is the Ting Times. And then if you want to learn more about my fashion consulting services, if you're a brand or just an individual who's looking to for me to style a photo shoot for you, or to revamp your wardrobe, or to just help you change your style, create outfits, then definitely check out www.tinglinfashion.com. And on Instagram, that's Ting Lin Fashion. That's the handle. And if you want to learn more about my music, it's www.tinglinmusic.com. And on Instagram, it's Ting Lin Music. And I'll definitely have a couple very exciting things coming up. So definitely stay tuned.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much again, Ting. We will have the links and information in the show notes as well, too, so that everybody can follow up with you.
Awesome.
But I appreciate you so much for all the awesome things you're doing and time you spent today. And I hope you have a great rest of the day.
Thank you. You too.
All right. And I'll cut it off here. Hello, hello, hello. Again, this is Gresh from the I Am CEO podcast. We had a phenomenal interview with the very talented Ting Lin of the Ting Times, and she's doing so many awesome things. But for people that might just be listening to this bonus section, Ting, could you take us through a little bit more about you and what exactly you do?
So I do a lot of things, but mainly I have an organization called the Ting Times, which is about providing resources, support, mentorship, opportunities to creatives that want to pursue unconventional careers like myself. So that's one aspect. And then I have Ting Lin Fashion, which is about all the fashion things that I do. Mainly fashion consulting services and wardrobe audit, organization, personal styling, fashion styling, and personal shopping. And then I also have Ting Lin Music, which is where I make my original music in different languages, different genres, trying to push the boundaries of, the industry really. And yeah, those are a couple things that I do.
Nice. I definitely appreciate, you for touching base on all of those and being on the podcast. And I love kind of how there's certain kind of, I guess, themes or nuances through each of the different things. It's kind of like, I imagine like car switching gears, so to speak, where
Yeah.
you don't push the boundaries as much of the fashion aspect as you do in the music, as you said, but you still have different aspects of that through everything that you do. And I think one of the
Exactly.
things we talked about and connected with was just during this time that obviously, like you mentioned before, has been brought to light. Being able to be creative and kind of have multiple, whether it be streams of income or just ways to attack certain problems is so important. Could you talk a little bit more about that and how that came about, that awareness of you should be able to do that and that's not something to feel bad about, in your life and in your businesses?
Yeah. So, I mean, it kind of came from personal experiences of people just telling me to focus on one thing. Um, and I've always been very like skeptical of that statement because, I love so many things. So I was like, why would I narrow it down to just one thing? And I feel like that has really come to light during the pandemic where it's proven that you shouldn't be just doing one thing or having one stream of income. You should be having multiple streams of income because if you get fired or if one income falls out, you have other incomes to kind of keep you afloat. So, I wouldn't encourage people to pursue every single thing that they love, but I would say if you have two or three things that you really, really love, passionate about, and that you want to kind of gear your energy towards, focus on those few things that can really generate like livable income and that you can really like build a career off of. So I definitely encourage people to do that, especially as you can see during this pandemic, you can't really rely on one income.
Yeah, it's so funny. I think that I graduated in 2009 and went back to school, officially graduated in 2010. And that was during the last kind of economic crisis. And as
Yeah.
we're entering into a pandemic and everything that goes with that now as well, too, I read a lot of Robert Kiyosaki books. And he mentioned, sometimes the most successful businesses were started during bad economic times. And a lot of times you have to think creatively about how you're going to solve those solutions. But a lot of times too, you start to create those different opportunities, those different streams of income so that if one dries up, you're not completely at a loss. And that kind of sounds like what you're speaking to is making sure that you have and pursue maybe some of those interests, especially if they overlap so that it can create and build a more
Mm-hmm.
sustainable opportunity for you.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, you shouldn't feel overwhelmed by that. I would say, like, one day you can be focused, like for me, one day I'm focused on the Ting Times, another day I'm focused on the Ting Lin Fashion, and another day I'm focused on Ting Lin Music. It's not like you have to do everything all at once, but kind of like section it out, set goals for yourself for different things that you want to do and kind of like pace yourself, on a daily basis. Um, and yeah, and just really think about like business plans for everything, think about the business aspect of everything. See, with creatives a lot of times we just want to create these awesome things and designs and merchandises, but we don't think about, well, how do we market it, right? How do we package this? How do we communicate to the audience? How do we generate business from all these awesome designs and such? So it's important, I think, especially for creatives, to not just pursue these different interests, but to make them into businesses and make sure that you can generate income from them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think definitely we can fall in love with the things that we create in so many different ways that we forget kind of the aspect of kind of getting the name out there and doing all the
Right.
business aspects that you spoke to. And that's something that you help out, or help out, I should say, creatives do as well too, right?
Yeah, I do some mentorship here and there. I've mentored, college students. I've mentored people that are just starting out in the fashion industry. I wouldn't say I'm like an expert on everything, but I would say that I have a lot of experiences and knowledge that I can share with whoever wants that. And the Ting Times is an organization that wants to help creatives to get there. So it takes a little planning on my part on how I would accomplish that. Probably not on my own, but as an organization, that's what we want to help creatives to do, is to get in that business mindset, to make those connections and to achieve those goals and make those income.
Yeah, I believe so much, and I think you kind of alluded to that as well too, especially during times like this, but really during arts, all times. I think that creative muscle, so to speak, is probably one of the most important muscles, because I believe that if you're able to harness that and connect that with that business mindset, you start to be able to create solutions when everything seems like it's awry. It looks like there's no solution, there's no problem. As you kind of even spoke to with your music, is about figuring out how I can bring two things together to create something new that has my own flavor, my own vision. I think a lot of times, if you can translate a lot of those skills or the ability to see that into business as creatives, whether you're an artist, whether you're a musician, whatever that might, a business person, then that will put you at such a competitive advantage. So that's why I love, being able to kind of speak to you about that, but that you created a community that helps support that as well.
Exactly. I mean, I think like the business part is very important, because as a creative, you want your good ideas and your good products to get to as many people as possible. So without a business, without a plan, it's only your limit is really just up to maybe your friends and family or people that follow you on social media, right? So if you really scale that up, more people will know about you, about your brand, and about your product. Then you can really, help people instead of them having to search for you. You're out there already.
Yeah, it's definitely like I often say the systems will set you free. Sometimes we are resistance to the system, especially as creatives, but it's really understanding that that opportunity or that ability to understand how to grow that business piece allows you to be even more creative, because you're reaching more
Mm-hmm.
people. You're able to take care of your family. You're able to take care of yourself. And that just allows you to reach more people, make more of an impact, and create even more than you ever maybe even thought possible.
Exactly.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, Ting, truly appreciate you for reminding us of that as well. And
Of
again, for
course.
people that might just be listening to this, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you and find out about all the awesome things you're working on?
Awesome. Well, for all of my websites, you can find me at www.thetingtimes.com, www.tinglinfashion.com, and then tinglinmusic.com. And on Instagram, you can find me at the Ting Times, Ting Lin Fashion, and Ting Lin Music, which I believe you said you'll probably list it. So if you don't know about the spelling, you'll get to see it in writing.
Yes, absolutely. And to make it even easier, I will have the links and information in the show notes, but definitely appreciate you for hopping on and providing us a little extra bonus content. And I think it's so important, as you said, to make sure that you're having multiple streams of revenue. I think the average millionaire has at least 7 to 8. And it's so important, because that allows you to weather the storm. And we're in the midst of one now too. So you want to make sure that
Exactly.
you're being progressive with that. So I appreciate that reminder, and I hope you have a great rest of the day.
Of course, you too. Thank you.